As we said before the break, it's time to talk about the A-list, which is 9 guiding principles for healthy eating and positive living. And I got a little concerned, Derek, when I was reading the book, because I wanted to talk about this during host chat, but I ran out of time. Because Roslyn has a quiz in here that if the statements are true, then you need some help. And I went through the quiz.
What have you doing to me, Roslyn?
I went through the quiz and I answered almost every one true, with the exception of like 3. They're questions like, I love sweets and can't stop eating them once I start. Is it true or false?
That's a truth, and the truth for a lot of people.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
So true. Well, Roslyn Franken, the author of the book, is here. Thank you so much for being with us, Roslyn. We're looking forward to talking to you about this.
Excellent.
And we understand you have kind of a unique story that brought you to writing the book, The A-List. Why don't you share it with us?
Well, the A-List has 2 parts to it, right? We talk about the healthy eating and the positive living. And I could say that it probably started a lot when I had my cancer experience. When I was 29 years old, I went to bed one night, woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, could not lift my head up off the pillow, and the doctors didn't know what was wrong, and they thought it was a virus, or maybe I had mono, right, if you have a swollen and painful neck. Turned out I had a tumor in my neck, and I had Hodgkin's disease. So 9 months of chemotherapy teaches you a thing or two about yourself.
So use that as inspiration, obviously, to write this book. And the book, I guess, is wrapped around 9 principles.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little? Well, first of all, list us the 9 principles, and then we can concentrate on a couple of them.
Sure. We start with ambition. Got to have ambition. Got to look at attitudes, attainability, awareness. You have appreciation, acceptance, and assessment.
Okay. All A's, hence
all
the A-list.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well, we
and
wanted
accountability.
To keep accountability. Very important.
Can't forget that one. That's one of the most important ones.
We wanted to highlight a couple of them in this first segment, because we've got a couple of segments with you, and one of them being ambition.
Yes.
How important is ambition in somebody's life?
Let me tell you. Ambition, for somebody who's struggled with food and weight issues, and I should mention that I myself have overcome food and weight issues, lost about 40 pounds.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, but it really comes down to your relationship with food, right?
Okay.
But the ambition piece is, a lot of people talk about wanting change. They say, I wish I could lose weight. Oh, I wish I could fit into clothes more easily. But they're not always willing to do something about it. So it's the willingness, the desire, the readiness, and the commitment, which is all part of that ambition, right? You have to be ready to do something, to get to that point, like I did, where, okay, enough is enough, you know, and I'm tired of all these diets, going on and off diets, and every time I go back to my old eating habits, what happens? The weight comes back, right?
Right, yeah.
So
it's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle, so that ambition piece, and that's why in the book I have questions to get people to really think and really assess for themselves, are you ready? Are you ready to start doing things differently?
And change it from something that you're mulling about into your mind and actually putting it into practice.
That's it. And dealing with all the fears, and yes, you may have tried a million things before and it didn't work. Well, it's about willing to try something new, willing to go at it.
So how does attitude fit in with all of this?
Attitude is a big piece, and of course it ties in with the ambition.
It ties in perfectly.
They all 9 principles all tie into each other. But the attitudes, I found that through the counseling that I do, not only my own experience, but I do one-on-one counseling, and I've seen in my clients the same patterns of attitudes that hold them back from having the long-term success.
Like?
Okay.
Like, one is the perfectionism and the all-or-nothing attitude.
It's
so,
like if you
perfectionism, really?
Hey,
don't know anyone like that.
It's true, because you feel that you have to be perfect in every way, and you have to do this and you do that, and you say the all or one. Are you talking about like when you have all or none? If you have a brownie, then you blow it for the rest of the day?
That's exactly it. Exactly it. Or the sense that
I'm identifying with everything inside this book.
Completely. Or and look, you're not somebody who's overweight, and that's what I say. This book is not only for people who are overweight and trying to lose weight. I've had clients who just literally need to shape up in terms of their eating habits, because I've had people where their doctors have told them, you know, if you don't smarten up, you're going to get diabetes.
Well,
Right.
eating habits in particular is a sort of a big part of the book. When I was looking through it, you've got some really great tips, and we've got 2 segments with you, as Derek said.
Yes.
So when we come back, we're going to go into the kitchen and focus on one of the other principles called awareness, which has all kinds of things, and we're going to chat, and you're going to give us some examples of how to improve our eating habits.
And we're going to raise awareness about how Roslyn will be dancing in the streets.
That's right.
So you're going to want to stay tuned for
leave
that
you
as well.
intrigued.
Welcome back to Daytime here on Rogers Television. We are back with author Roslyn Franken of the A-List, and we're talking about all these different principles. There's 9 principles. We went through a couple of them in the first segment, and this time we want to talk about awareness and what we mean by that in conjunction with food.
Yes.
Give us an idea what you mean by awareness when related to food.
Well, there's 2 parts. There's food awareness and there's self-awareness.
Okay.
If you're looking to change your eating habits, if you're looking to change any habit, you have to be aware of what it is you're doing. You have to be aware of the choices that you're making, because typically, especially when it comes to food, we're on automatic pilot.
Right.
When I say automatic pilot, what I brought here are some samples.
I notice I went directly to the
I know.
chips.
I was going to say.
Was that not automatic?
It was. I'm looking at everything I have a choice here of, and I'd go for chips right off the bat.
And I'm going to guess that she's going to tell you that was probably the wrong choice.
Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with these choices. I've got potato chips, cashew nuts, and gummy bears.
Okay.
So people who are typically trying to lose weight or change their eating habits will think, oh, those are forbidden foods, I'm not allowed to have them. But if you love those foods, I'm saying, you know what, you can eat them, but you have to eat them differently. Because if you eat them as much as you want whenever you want, then obviously because not much is going to change. Again, when you're trying to lose weight, for example, that it means going hungry.
Okay.
And so what I want to show is that in each of these bowls here, you have 200 calories worth.
Okay.
200 calories? That's it?
That few...
just this amount?
Nuts,
this little bit?
Yes.
Oh, that's
one
not
cup
good.
of cashew nuts has 880 calories.
Oh my goodness!
Whoa.
I had no idea.
So this
That's
is what
almost a full day's worth of food.
Yes.
Wow.
Right? So if you're looking to lose weight, you know, cutting back a bit on the cashews to a smaller portion and then balancing out with things like this whole pineapple has the same amount of calories as that little bowl of cashews, or that little bit of gummy bears. Or the potato chips, the same thing, these 2 bananas, it's the same amount of calories. So if you're looking to just dig into the cashews, you have to pay attention and realize that, like when you're at someone's house, right, and they're serving cashew nuts on the coffee table or chips, you're talking and your hand is going and you're on automatic pilot, you have to wake up.
Right.
Right? And I talk about the freeze game. The freeze game. I don't know if you were a kid.
I remember the freeze game.
Do you remember the freeze game?
Absolutely.
So
Loved
it's like
it.
you're sitting around the table and then somebody yells, freeze, and you just freeze, right? And then the first person who moves loses.
Yeah.
Right? So that moment of freeze is like, wait a second, what am I doing? You know, like, this is my 3rd handful of cashew nuts. I'm working at trying to get my weight in check and eat healthy and feel better.
Well, you put it into perspective, Roslyn, because this is, this is the size of a handful. And you're right, like easily.
That's even barely
you're going to eat 10 handfuls of that normally. What you have to do is turn to your host and go, do you have a pineapple? I have a pineapple I could slug back because I'm starving.
Well, before we run out of time, Derek gave us a teaser there before we finished the first segment. But tell us quickly about Dancing with the Streets. Dancing in the Streets, I should say.
Dancing in the Streets with Cancer Survivors is an event on Saturday, August 18th. I'm doing a book signing there at the Glebe Apothecary, which is at 778 Bank Street between 2nd and 3rd. And I'm donating $5 for every book that's bought at the event. I'm donating to the Cancer Foundation.
Wonderful.
Plus, I'm offering the book at a discounted price, just to get people into healthy living.
And this is a great event because it really started with Max Keeping. He said, when I fight this thing and I win my battle with cancer, I'm going to dance down Bank Street. And that's exactly what he did. And he invited all other cancer survivors to go down and dance with him.
Exactly.
Right?
It's about celebrating life. And I want to mention that there's going to be entertainment. There's going to be Ashley McIsaac is going to be there on the main stage. And Ottawa's favorite magician, Mr. Elliot Smith, is going to be there doing street magic.
Who just happens to be your husband.
That's right.
He is an amazing magician, let me tell you. I've seen him many, many times.
Yes.
Thank
Roslyn,
you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And have a great time dancing in the streets.
Thank you.
Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up right after this.